My name's Gary, and I'd like to tell you the story from one of the windows here in St Paul's Cathedral. This story is told in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 7, verses 11 to 17. And although it's not very long, it's a very powerful story. Jesus and his disciples were in Galilee. There was a large crowd of people with him because of his teaching and his healing of the sick. Jesus was headed towards a town called Nain, and as he approached the town gate, the body of a young man was being carried out on a bed. He had recently died. He was the only son of his mother, and she was already a widow. A large crowd of people also came out as part of the funeral procession. Jesus saw the woman and had compassion on her. And he went to her and he said, "Woman, do not weep." And he turned and he placed his hand on the bed on which the body of the young man was being carried, and the people carrying the bed stopped. This was most unusual for anyone to touch a dead body or anything associated with it. It meant that they would become unclean and would have to undergo ritual purification. Jesus then said, "Young man, I say to you, get up." And the dead man sat up and began to talk, and Jesus took him and gave him back to his mother. And the crowd was filled with wonder and praised God. "A prophet has appeared among us," they said. "God has come to visit his people." And the news of Jesus and what he had done that day spread throughout Judea and the surrounding countryside. Now, I wonder what it would have been like to be in that crowd and seen what had gone on. Where would you look? Would you look at the mother whose grief had turned into joy? Would you look at the young man who you knew to be dead and was brought back to life? Or would you look at the stranger who, with a command, brought this heartbroken mother's only son back to life? Let me tell you what I take from this story. Jesus moves into that space of grief and sorrow without being asked. He goes to the woman without being invited. She doesn't even express faith. Jesus approaches her out of compassion, and he joins her where she is. Elsewhere in the Gospels, Jesus talks about the kingdom of God. And I think in this story, we get a glimpse of what that will look like in its true fulfillment. There will be no more tears and no more death.